Alright, now it's time to review our final argument, which is the range lookup type. This is what we called the if match, because we are telling Excel if we want an exact match or if we want an approximate match. We know that if this argument is left blank, Excel will by default look for an approximate match. Most often, we are looking for a unique match, so we should fill in false as the argument. But there are times when we actually want Excel to look for an approximate match. One thing to keep in mind when looking for an approximate match is that the values in your lookup column, which is column 1 in your table array, must be arranged in ascending order. If they're text-based, then ensure they are sorted in alphabetical order, otherwise the VLOOKUP function may not give you accurate results. Now, in which situations would we prefer to use an approximate match over an exact match? Approximate matches come in handy when we want to categorize or classify things, such as find out what grade students have scored given their exam percentage, or what tax bracket people fall under given their income. Take a look at these two tables. The table on the left shows us some food-to-go customers and the total amount they have spent on their recent orders. Food-to-go is running a promotion, and if you spend a certain amount on a single order, you're entitled to a discount as shown in the table on the right. So customers have to spend at least $30 to get a discount of 5%. The maximum discount available is 20% for orders above $150. We want to use the VLOOKUP function to find out what discount rate customers are entitled to given their order totals. How will we do this? Well, we will tell Excel to look up our customer spend values and specify the table on the right as our search area. So Excel will look for a lookup value in the first column and then return the discount amount given in the second column. This is where an approximate match comes in useful because the discount amount will depend on which category the customer falls into, and this will rarely be an exact match. Before we write our function, let me show you another neat technique. We can name our table cell range, which comes in especially useful when using a VLOOKUP function to categorize or classify data. Select the table cell range that contains category information and then name it using the cell name box in the top left. Let's name this cell range discount because it gives us the discount tiers. Now let's enter our VLOOKUP function into cell D3 to find out what discount rate Rahul is entitled to. We want to look up the amount Rahul has spent, so this will be our first argument. Then for our second argument, we just need to type in discount because this is the name of our table array, so Excel will immediately know where to search. When you name cells or cell ranges, you can't use the same name for another cell or range in the same workbook. So named cell ranges work well across multiple sheets. If you know the name of the range you want to reference, you can just easily enter it into a formula or function without worrying about the syntax or having to navigate to that sheet. Now, if we hadn't named this table, we would have to remember to insert its cell range as an absolute reference in our formula because we will later be copying the function into cells below and want the table array to remain constant. Our next argument will be the number 2 because we want Excel to return the discount amount from column 2 of our table. Now for the last argument. Let's test out what will happen if we ask for an exact match. Okay, we get an answer which looks correct. Rahul has spent $50, so he should get a discount of 10%. Let's copy our function down this column using the fill handle and see what happens. This is pretty strange because we've ended up with errors for most cells but got a result for Arjun. Now, if we take a closer look at the amounts Rahul and Arjun have spent and then look at our discount table, we will see just why. These amounts match one of the categories exactly, and since we were looking for an exact match, Excel has been able to return a value. This is a great example of a case where an approximate match needs to be used instead to get better results. Let's edit our formula in cell D3 and change the last argument to true so that Excel will look for an approximate match instead. Now let's copy it into the other cells again, and this seems to have worked much better. We do still have one error, but let's just check some of the other results first to see if they are correct. Okay, so David has spent $93 and our function tells us that he should get a discount of 12%. If we look at our discount table, this is correct because if you spend over $75, you will get a 12% discount, and only if you spend over $100 will the discount amount increase. If we use the VLOOKUP function to look for an approximate match, Excel will return a result that is equal to or lower than our lookup value. What we mean is that if Excel finds an exact match, then it will return the result from that row like it did for Rahul. But if it can't find an exact match, it will look for the nearest lowest value and then return the corresponding result from that row according to the column you have specified. Let's check one more. So we have Malti at the bottom who has spent just over $75, so she should also receive a discount of 12%, which is correct. Now let's come back to the error value in cell D4 and figure out what the problem is. Julie has spent $28.90, so according to our discount categories, she won't receive any discount. Now when we see error values, the error codes can help us figure out what the problem is. The NA error is a very common error and can occur for different reasons. When using VLOOKUP functions, this error usually occurs if there are typos, if the lookup value is not in the first column of the table array, or when numbers are formatted as text, which can cause problems in the function. In our example, the NA error is showing because Excel cannot find the lookup value we have specified, which is $28.90, in the first column of our table array, which is this. Now you might be questioning this because even many of our other lookup values are not in our table array. But what we have to keep in mind is that we are looking for an approximate match. So Excel will return a result value that is equal to or lower than our lookup value. But for this bill of $28.90, Excel can't find an exact or lower match in the lookup value column, and that's why we get an error which essentially means that Julie isn't entitled to any discount. Finding approximate matches can be very useful, but they will only work when our lookup values are arranged in ascending order in the leftmost column of our table array. This example shows us why. If Excel is looking for a value and it does not find an exact match, it needs to return the next best match correctly, which is taken from the lookup value that is closest to but lower than the specified lookup value. Now, if the lookup value column is not sorted in ascending order, our VLOOKUP function may not return the correct results. So just to recap, we should use true as our fourth argument in cases when we're looking for a best match, like when classifying or categorizing data. We just have to make sure that our lookup values are arranged in ascending order.